and I'll bring this question back to Majid, who is really building civil society resistance on this issue in a moment. But I'm going to start with Antti here, because Antti's been doing his doctoral research looking at the entanglements of technology innovation and settler colonialism in Palestine. And he's also been looking at the role of techno-capitalism and venture capital, the big tech industry that's exacerbating the situation. So, Antti, maybe you can tell us in the last 2 or 3 years what you have seen in these developments, because you also attended events in Israel, Palestine. You've actually investigated the economic dimension of this, and you've probably at least read the summary of Francesca's report on the economic genocide. So maybe you can say something about that.
Yeah, thanks, Nitin, and thanks for all the organizers and everyone who came out to this event. Yeah, I thought it was really important. The ambassador in his opening speech, he mentioned the word capitalism, and it came many times in Francesca's speech and in documentary as well. Because we need to understand the relation between capital and certain business elites and the unfolding genocide that is still going on. It's crucial. And there was a scene in the documentary that in which Francesca Albanese was saying about how the Palestinian economy life in all aspects is being erased, and the stock market in Tel Aviv is jumping. It's soaring. And this wasn't sort of natural law of the economy that took place there. There was a rescue mission, an actual rescue mission of the Israeli economy by individual billionaires. One of them invested for a huge stake out of the Israeli stock market at the very beginning of the genocide, just to float it out. U.S. states have been buying up Israeli debt in order to make its economy function. And worse than that, there was the field that I've been following is technology, which is Israel's. It plays a crucial role in the world of technology. It's the number one place of early stage technology that's coming to the world. It's the most venture capital startups and so forth after Silicon Valley. So there was actually a choice by many venture capitalists, majority of them, to stand with Israel, to keep on investing. A lot of big tech companies chose to stay there and chose to reinvest in a moment in which didn't make any sense. And what we've seen after that, so after this rescue mission, is that Gaza has become this global center of new AI technologies. It has become the place in which the future of technologies is being developed, it's being tested, it's being sold out. It's this laboratory metaphor that we've been talking about. One other aspect that I would like to say here is that to connecting this overall sense of darkness that is even darker, that there has been a shift in the capitalist class that I've been following in Silicon Valley and in more generally, that before the genocide, it was the era of the liberal world system in which the violence Palestinians faced was the violence of the liberal world and a liberal capital. Now we have a new kind of capital and capitalists coming to the scene, which are openly far-right, openly anti-democracy, openly against these multilateral institutions, openly destructive. They see Gaza as an economic but also as a political experiment, a new kind of world approaching, which is a world that is ruled by elites outside the state system that we have. So that's why you have companies like Palantir or the PayPal mafia, Anderson Horowitz, these kind of alt-right libertarian capitalists investing now in Israel. They see this as a big, Gaza as a big dreamscape. And I think we need to be aware of that, because that's not a future that is going to be contained. Just.
This relates very much to the question somebody asked about the fact that the Israel genocide has been extremely profitable for Israeli and other international weapons companies. And how have we, our governments and our essentially sold our values for GDP growth? But I kind of wanted to touch a little further on the role of the defense tech industry, in particular, Antti, because you have been studying a bit of that. And they're not only in the ones in the Middle East and the US, but also here in Finland. We have an arms relationship with Israel. And now with the explosion of defense tech, with new companies like Nest AI and many others coming with huge amounts of venture capital going into them, there is a kind of different moral shift towards how we think of security and militarization. And with the influx of AI, is there a danger that Gaza, as Anthony Lowenstein, our colleague, continues to say, becomes the Palestine laboratory for the design and export of weapons, and that our defense industry will thrive in?
Yeah, of course, it has been that for a long time. Already in 2014, for example, the Israeli capitalists were saying that Gaza is a cash cow. It's a place to reap profit. I think what we're seeing now is qualitative change towards this kind of idea of eternal war. That there might be, that this is an ongoing escalation, and that the economy itself, we see investment clustering from whatever other kind of climate change, agro technology, water technology. We see them clustering into defense tech, defense being kind of a brand word for what is going on. So there are a lot of investment pouring into this future that rests on the idea that the war is permanent, and that at least the fear of war is permanent, like the fear of insecurity was permanent, so that you can sell this stuff. For Finland, I think we're so far away from what needs to take place. Thinking about our global role in this, there was just stories in Helsinki South, things in Helsinki South local newspaper, that our pension funds, one of the funds just was saying there, the pension funds has been investing in politics. A company that openly says that they are buying up to the idea of civilizational clash, and they have sided with the American empire at this. And then we have defense export, and then we have the dual-use export. We know that Nokia, for example, is surveillance technologies or 5G technology. Then in Israel, in fact, will become surveillance technology. So there's a lot of work to be done here in Finland.